Hi, it's Jen from Not So Mystical Tarot. This is going to be your reading for Sun, Moon, or Rising sign of Leo for love, romance, and relationships for June 2019. You can find me on Instagram at Not So Mystical Tarot or NotSoMysticalTarot.com if you would like a personal or private reading, all in the description. We will start out first with our single, then our partnered, and then our self-care, self-love. So let's get started first for our single Leos. The Star. Well, that's very promising, isn't it? Can you see that? There we go. Yeah, the Star. Anything you want to be, do, or have. So, like, I think people are going to be digging you this month, single Leo. Oh! And the Nine of Swords. Okay. I feel like you went through something that just tore you up. Like, whatever your last relationship or breakup was, even if you were the breakup-er, not the breakup-y, either you felt really guilty about it or somebody broke up with you and it took you out. It just took you out. And if that's the case, the thing is, I want to say, like, I feel like you're really healed up now. Like, you're like, okay, that was rough, but I learned a lot and I know who I am now. And I know what I'm worth. I know my potential. And if you don't feel that way yet, you will. Ooh, Justice. Yeah. Whatever this was, this upset, this bad, this is like the result of, like, I feel like maybe there was drama or people saying stuff, you know, and it was bothersome. It was bothersome for all of the parties concerned, not just the two of you. But you do have the Justice card. One more sword she's got there. That says to me, it's all come to a head and it's all said and done. And, you know, through all of this, you've learned a lot. And if you feel like you haven't learned a lot, I'm going to ask you to re-examine that, because I think you may have just not been ready to see it before. But I think you've learned a lot, and you have come to a point where you're like, that wasn't a good relationship. Or even if it was a good relationship of someone that you really loved and cared for, you weren't showing up to it as your whole self, because this is anything you want to be, do, or have, you can have. Like, dream big. And I'm thinking maybe you didn't show up to it fully, you know, no matter what the situation was. But I feel like you want to show up now. Like, you're like, all right, I see it. I see the mistakes I made, and I want to show up. I feel like you're ready to. You're ready, and you're ready to, like, share your kind of awesome, like, with someone else. Like I said, this is done. This is over and done. You know, if you're still hanging on to something like that, obviously you're going to want to let it go. But let it go, because look what you have. You have the Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups is like, you know, great relationships, you know, happy, whatever. This says to me that you will recover from whatever this was, in the guilt associated with it, if you were feeling guilty or you were just so hurt. Either way, whichever direction you were in on this relationship, you now can show up fully as, like, who you are to the next relationship. So if there is, I don't know if there's someone, like, stalking right up on you right now, but there's a very big potential for you to meet that person, I think, because of who you are showing up as now. I feel like you kind of come into your own and you're like, okay, I've learned a lot. I get it. I get it. A lot of self-work, you know, self-care, self-work. Be interested to hear how June goes for you, Leo, because I feel like you're going to be, like, feeling like you got it going on. I think you're going to attract a lot of attention. All right, we're going to do our married Leos. Ooh, Eight of Cups. Don't freak out. I'm not saying people are getting divorced. A lot of times we figure out things in our relationship that are not working, and we stop doing those things. So let's get a little more information here. Eight of Cups and the Hermit. Okay. What I'm thinking here is that you were not taking time for each other. You were not taking time for each other. I mean, you look, you know, this person's going this way, the Hermit's facing that way. Like, it could just be that you got busy, and that happens in marriages and relationships where you're partnered together. You know, if you have kids and stuff, especially, people get busy and they start to, you know, go this way, and, oh, this person's off by themselves doing their own thing. And before you know it, you've got two people doing two different things. And I feel kind of like that's what's been going on, is that you've had almost like two different, like, I don't want to say like you were like roommates. I don't think it was quite like that. But I feel like you were kind of heading in a direction of having two separate lives. Like, you were not spending as much time in relationship as you could have been. And here you go. You got this Five of Wands, which is conflict. This is like time-wasting behavior, though. This is like that tug of war, like, you know, stupid stuff. Like, I mean, it can be as much as like, you know, one person's playing a ton of video games and the other person's lost on Facebook for 3 hours and you don't talk at all. Like, you're getting home and like you eat dinner in front of the TV and one person's on their phone all night and one person's playing video games all night and you're just not connecting. I feel like you're not connecting. And I want to know how we can make that happen. How can we reestablish that connection? Queen of Cups, we're going to give some love. I love this particular Queen of Cups card is really a happy one. The one from this deck, I see it a little bit differently, but from this deck, when we get this is a very happy, this card just makes you smile when you look at it, doesn't it? It's just beautiful. It makes you smile. This is all about, you know what, you have this committed thing, and I don't feel like there is no love here. That's the thing. I feel like there's a lot of love here, but you've gotten very distracted from paying attention to each other. And this just says, this Queen of Cups just says, pay attention to each other. It's so simple. Just pay attention to each other. This Five of Wands is time-wasting behavior. It can also be like family being super needy. Like, you know, maybe your uncle is always like, oh, can you come over and mow my lawn? And can you come and do this for me? And maybe you have overbearing in-laws who are constantly asking for things. Whatever the case is, I think it's really time here. This Queen of Cups says to me, listen, it's time to turn toward each other and, you know, focus on, instead of you walking this way and you hermiting over that way, it's time to turn, you know, toward each other. It's time to, you walk this way a little bit and you put this, you know, lantern and this stick down and you come this way. The two of you, it's time for you to move back toward each other. I don't think that there's something really wrong here. I just think that you've gotten just pulled away, and it just naturally kind of happened. You just kind of, I got busy over here and you got busy over there, and now we're not getting busy with each other. So use that Queen of Cups, you know, use that energy, really try to like breathe that energy in when you see that card. You know, remember that picture of just how comforting and beautiful she is, and try to like breathe some of that back in, because I don't think that, like, it's not like it's bad. It's just relationships, these things happen. Sometimes we just get distracted. So it's time to turn the focus back to your love. Like, your love needs to be the focus in June. Turn the focus back to your love. Do that, okay? Let's talk a little bit about self-care, because it always has there's always a role that self-care plays in this, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, we cannot give to anyone else, you know. And I mean, we all make these mistakes. What about our self-care for our Leos? King of Wands. Well, this is you. King of Wands is charismatic, fire sign. You can't say no to him. This is like saying, hey, remember who you are. Remember that person who like gets dressed up and is like, damn, I look good. Leo, single Leo, married Leo, everybody, whoever. This is about taking some time to like enhance that appearance a little bit. Remember, you know, the King of Wands is just a little flashy, okay? He's a little flashy and he's a little fine, and this can be male or female energy. It doesn't matter, because the Queen of Wands is the same way. She's like, excuse me, you know. This is about like, what are some finishing touches that you haven't been taking time for lately? Because like the King of Wands would not go out without looking super fly. So have you been kind of like, I don't need to do my makeup. I don't care. I don't care what I look like. Or, you know, if you're a guy, I don't need to shave. I don't care. You know, whatever. I don't care. Whatever. This is about like taking that extra time to make your outside look really nice, because the King of Wands looks fine all the time, okay? This is about taking some extra time on the outside of you, making the outside of you look nice so that the inside of you feels really good. Yeah, because you have not been doing that. Three of Swords. You have not been taking care of yourself. Or, I mean, I'm not saying like you're like rolling around in your pajamas all day, but I'm saying like you've let a couple of things go that you know really benefit you and make you feel good about yourself. Even like for a girl, like let's say you always get your nails done and you just stopped going because, well, I don't care. Who cares? Nobody cares. Well, you care. You're letting some things go. Maybe for a guy, you know, you haven't gone to the gym, or a girl, you haven't worked out, you know, you've been eating chips in front of the TV. Whatever it is, you are letting some things go, and it's dulling your shine a little. So like you need to you want to buff that shine up a little bit. Ten of Pentacles. So maybe you've been, you know, this is a card of success. So maybe you've been working a lot, and you're working a lot and you're making money and you're successful, and that's great, but your outside needs attention too, okay? That's all I can say is like for the Leos, and Leo, you like to look good. Like you like to look good. You like to get that attention. When you walk into a room and people turn and go, you know, like they look fine, you really like that. It makes you feel really good, and it will help get rid of this, because you do not need to be feeling like that. You know it and I know it. So step up your self-care. If you've been letting some things go, it's time to stop that, okay? Let me get one more card here. Give us a little clue about this. And here it is. The Lovers. Yeah, you're not taking the time, okay? In this instance, when we're talking about self-care and self-love, you're not taking the time to, like, love yourself. You're not taking the time at all. This is, yeah, hello. You're not taking enough time for self-care. So whatever that looks like for you, whether it's getting, like I said, getting your nails done, going to the gym, I don't care what it is, getting some new clothes, are you wearing old dumpy frumpy stuff, whatever, you know, do whatever it is that makes you sparkle and glow. Do that stuff, because that's the only way that you're going to not feel like this, because I think you don't want to feel like that, okay? So let's spiff it up in June, Leo. I would love to hear how this is all like resonating for everybody. I want to thank you also for your likes, shares, subscribes, comments, because it helps me know what kind of content to bring you, and I really appreciate that. So I will talk to you soon.